What is up, awesome people of the internet? Hello, hello, hello. I hope y'all are having a great day, everybody. Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday, awesome people of the internet, and welcome to another edition of Awesome People of the Internet Friday Hangout, where we talk about what's going on in the world of women's basketball, and we just, have some real talk. So I got me a bottle of water. And I'm ready to talk some women's college basketball, because the conversation of the night is going to be the top 16 committee rankings that came through. Y'all, we got a lot to talk about, because there's some teams that are on the list that, there's some controversy about how high they should be. There are some people who didn't make the top 16 that people are like, let's talk about this, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot to talk about. Also, there's some WNBA updates for y'all as well, so we're going to get into that as well. And then whatever else y'all want to talk about in the world of women's basketball, we are here to do it. Hello. Frank is giving the thinking emoji. So Frank is pondering what's his thoughts about this top 16. If y'all have some initial thoughts about this top 16 before we get into it, let me know in the chat. What up, RC? RC says, you got you a bottle of water turned into wine. Sorry, I'm being fat. That's just straight water. Straight water, courtesy of Aldi. Michelle, hello. What up, Joe? What up? Joe says, what up, family? What up, awesome people of the internet? How y'all doing today? Michaela says, hey, Quita, I'm happy as a New York Liberty fan now. Yes, the New York Liberty did make some updates today, or gave us some updates today. JJ is back with the Liberty. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about that as well. Lots of stuff to get into. But first, we're going to start with the top 16 NCAA rankings that came out the other day. So we're definitely going to get into that. Just for fun, Marie says, hey, Quita and everyone else. Hello. Hello, Harrison. All right. So, as I mentioned, the topics of conversation today, the main topics of conversation is, number one, we're going to kick it off talking about the top 16. I'm going to break down what teams are on the top 16. And we're going to talk about what that all means. And we're also going to get into some of the slight controversy that's around it about some teams not making it to the top 16 and sort of what that means. All right, so RC says, I'm excited as an Iowa and Caitlin fan. It gets no better. Literally was everything yesterday. All right, RC is still riding high from that Caitlin Clark fever of yesterday. If y'all can hit that like button, that would be amazing. Please hit that like button. It'll help more people find the channel. All right, guys. So we are going to get into the top 16 list. And this was revealed by the selection committee yesterday. And for those who don't know, this is not the official top 16. This is just the top 16 as of a couple days ago. They did have a grand unveiling of this on ESPN. And they sort of talked about their reasonings behind it and all that good stuff. There will be another reveal in a 2 weeks from now. So we saw the first reveal this week. They're going to do another reveal on February the 29th. And again, they're just going to keep doing that. The final 68 team bracket will not come out until March the 17th. So this is just a little bit of fodder to get fans talking and to get buzz happening around the NCAA March Madness stuff. So these 16 teams, it doesn't mean anything right now, but it's a good talking point. So we are going to give in and we're going to talk about it. All right, so let's take a look at the full list. So here is the full list of the teams. We have a no-brainer. South Carolina at number 1, Stanford at number 2, Ohio State at number 3, Colorado 4, Iowa 5, North Carolina State 6, UCLA 7, Texas 8, USC 9, Virginia Tech 10, Oregon State 11, UConn 12, K-State 13, LSU 14, Indiana 15, and Louisville 16. So those are the rankings. And we're actually going to just do piece by piece, talk about these teams. And I think we're going to first start talking about the sort of head honchos. Actually, let's actually take a look at the way the brackets lie right now for the top 16. So here's the way the brackets lie. So we have in the Albany region, we have South Carolina, UCLA, UConn, and Louisville. For the Portland Regional 1, we have Stanford, Texas, Oregon State, and Indiana. For Albany 2, we have Ohio State, NC State, USC, and LSU. And then for Portland Regional 2, we have Colorado, Iowa, Virginia Tech, and K-State. So though that's kind of how everything is sort of laying out. And we're going to talk sort of grouping by grouping, and we're going to get into what teams are like at the spot that they should be and what teams are sort of lower or higher than they actually should be. All right, so we're going to start with the top teams in South Carolina, Stanford, Ohio State, and Colorado. Those are the top 4 seeds. And there is no argument for me for 3 of them. And I have a question mark about 1. So we're just gonna go through it. And also, as I'm sort of walking through this, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below as we sort of talk about it. Nivea says, I think they had LSU at 14, and there are not 13 teams better than them. Bias for sure. All right, we're gonna get into that, Nivea. We are for sure going to get into that. So, South Carolina being the number 1 seed, of course, there is no argument from here about that. Yes, they should be the number 1 seed because they are by far the best team in the NCAA right now. In terms of the rest of the list, I have no issues at all with Stanford being at that sort of number 1 seed as well. Stanford has been really, really good this year. You have the huge pairing of Cameron Brink and again, I keep saying it, but the player who I consider the most improved player of the year in Kiki Iraofen. They're just sort of doing their thing, and they're a powerhouse at Stanford. I mean, I have no issues at all with Stanford being at that number 1 seed. To me, they are the number. They could have an argument for the number 2 or number 3 team in the country. So no issues with South Carolina because they literally have a roster of players who are gelling very well together, and also a roster that can not only play some defense, but a roster that can also shoot very well. And with Stanford, no issues on that front. Now, Ohio State, love it. No issues with that. I think Ohio State is doing very, very well this year. And they're sort of peaking at the right time. You know, J.C. Sheldon, Cody McMahon, they're balling for Ohio State. And we've sort of seen this if you've been watching Ohio State for the last, I would say last month, they look very, very good. And they for sure get that number 1 spot because they're just balling. So no issues. Again, I said I had no issues with 3 of them, and I had a question mark for 1. And if you've done some deducing, you've realized that the one I have a question mark about is Colorado. The Buffs are a very talented team. They are. Coach J.R. Payne has really gotten this team in a really good spot. And with players like, Aaronette Vonleh, Frida Foreman, talent on the roster for sure. However, I don't consider Colorado a top 4 school right now in the NCAA. Like, I don't see it. I do not see it. And now, guys, in the comments, let me know if you disagree with me, because Colorado is awesome. They are. They're really, really talented, but they are not a top 4 team in the country. They're just not. And I don't totally understand why they were selected that high. Yes, strength of schedule is a thing, and yes, the Pac-12 is very, very tough right now. And so that for sure helps Colorado in their rankings. But even with that said, I just don't put them that high. I just don't. And I'm sure as time goes on, they're going to change that around. But yeah, I don't know. Tell me, I would say in the chat, please tell me where I'm wrong on having Colorado so high up, because I really do not see it. I don't see it at all. Let's see what y'all got to say in the comments. Let's see what y'all got to say. Okay. So, Joe says, I agree so far. You agree so far with the top 16 rankings that they have. Michaela says, totally agree. Who would you have to replace them? So maybe a controversial take. But I would say probably UCLA. Now I know. And actually, let's talk about UCLA when we get to it. But I would replace Colorado with UCLA. I have reasoning behind it, and I'll explain that as we look at the sort of like a second tier rankings of teams. But yeah, so when we look at Colorado so far this year, actually let's see the rest of y'all comments. So Danielle says Colorado has a good resume. They do. They beat some good teams. Yeah. Colorado's good. Like, this is not me saying Colorado sucks, because they don't. I just personally wouldn't have put them at number 4. And I'm going to sort of talk through why. So yes, they're a very talented team. Colorado women's basketball are 20-4 on the season so far. And they're looking good. So the team that they lost to is NC State. They barely lost to NC State. That was a very, very close game. I don't really knock them for that, because NC State is a very good team, and Colorado got just like any other team can get got. They lost to UCLA. They lost 68-76 in January, I believe. They also lost to Oregon State. Now, Oregon State is one of those teams that just, Oregon State's good. they're ranked number 11 in the top 16. They're very good. But they beat Colorado 62-68. And when you look at the other losses, their fourth loss comes again to Oregon State. They lost to Oregon State 59-65. So they lost to Oregon State twice. They lost to UCLA once, and they lost to NC State once. Now, they do have some upcoming games, including a game tonight against Utah. They play USC one more time. They play UCLA again. And so we will see how their record continues. If Colorado wins the rest of their Pac-12 games, then yes, I will be convinced of Colorado at the number 4 seed. I would be very, very convinced if they beat UCLA again. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Colorado's great. Rusty Nail says Colorado destroyed LSU. They did. they gave everybody a wake up call that last year wasn't a fluke for Colorado. Yeah, Colorado's very good. And they did destroy LSU. Let's see. JB says Ohio State is so solid this year. Their best is good enough to knock off anyone in the country, including South Carolina. Scary draw for March. I mean, the South Carolina thing is, who knows? Maybe. But they haven't played each other, so it's kind of hard to, I mean, sure, you can sort of like compare the games they played, but like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say how they match up. But I think they have a great chance of doing something against South Carolina and even pulling off a victory. RC says Ohio State looks worthy at this point. We'll see as the weeks go onward. Yeah. I mean, for all of these, we will see. We will see. Kim says, I'm happy that the voting committee gave LSU a low ranking because Kim liked to create cupcake non-conference schedules, and it came back to bite her. Yeah, last year didn't bite them at all, and they were ranked. They were, they had a very, 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 very good ranking for the NCAA tournament. But this year, yeah, it's hurting them. It is hurting them this year, and we will get into specifically LSU in just a sec. Next to Air says Colorado beat us /LSU in the first game of the season. Hopefully we will see them again. Groovy says they only have 4 losses. They got wins over LSU, Stanford, USC, and Utah. Good win. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, Joe. Appreciate you. Let's see what else y'all got to say. RC, RC's our resident Iowa fan, so we gotta hear what he has to say. RC says, as an Iowa fan, I am still hoping that our loss to you guys doesn't hurt us in the long run. I'm hoping for some vengeance on March the 3rd. We'll see. We will see. Country says that Colorado pick is a setup for them to lose and to move a certain team that starts with an L with a very large attendance numbers and a record starts with the I with a very large attendance numbers and a record-breaking player to that spot. Money bags. I think Country is trying to talk about Iowa here. I think Country's talking about Iowa. And maybe I would say maybe for that. Yeah. We'll get into Iowa. We'll get into Iowa more in just a sec. Kim says, I'm happy LSU was punished for their schedule. Yeah, they for sure were punished. They for sure was punished for that schedule. Cordy says, March is going to be the best March Madness we've ever seen. Yeah, it will be. I am very much excited about March Madness because I have a question for you guys here. A quick break real quick from this discussion of top 16. Let me know, guys, do you feel like we're in a different era from women's basketball? And the reason why I asked that is because if you saw yesterday when Caitlin Clark broke the record, it was everywhere. It was Pat McAfee talked about it on his show. ESPN had it plastered all over their social. They brought, even though the game was not on ESPN, they brought Holly Rowe down to watch the game, and she let everybody know that that Caitlin Clark gave her a hug. It was everywhere. Bleacher Report had it all on their social. Basically, any sporting outlet, any sporting media outlet, talked about Caitlin Clark, and even NPR was talking about Caitlin Clark and talking about women's basketball, and they don't really talk about women's sports like that, let alone women's basketball. And so that's my question to you guys: Are we seeing a different sort of like pickup when it comes to media for women's basketball this year? And are we set to really make this the best NCAA tournament ever before for women's basketball? Yes, last year was huge, but I feel like I'm seeing women's basketball everywhere. And yes, I do love women's basketball, and I'm watching it a lot. But I feel like I'm seeing it in places where I normally wouldn't. So, for example, some of the major sports networks, they have sort of like a women's version of their thing. So, for example, Bleacher Report, they put a lot of stuff on Highlight Her when it's about females, right? When same thing for ESPN, they would put stuff on ESPNW. It wasn't deemed important enough to put on ESPN. It was on ESPNW. It was on all of the women specific platforms that these media institutions had. That stuff was put on there and celebrated, and they put it out, but it was sort of on a secondary tier. And I felt like not just Caitlin Clark hitting that record, but I feel like in general, I have seen so much of women's basketball highlighted in places that I really did not think I saw before. And maybe I'm just hyper aware of it or whatnot, but I would like to hear what you all have to say. I would love to hear what y'all have to say about that. Joe says, I think it's getting better, but still so far to go. Bear Down says, different era for sure, because everyone's talking and not just on social media. Nina says, I think we're getting there, but I think when Caitlin Clark graduates, they will unfortunately die down a bit. Yeah, maybe the specific Caitlin Clark fans, but I really feel like it's not just Caitlin Clark. It's all the stuff. It's like LSU getting a lot of coverage. It's sort of USC getting coverage. It's South Carolina getting a lot of coverage. So yes, Caitlin Clark is a huge driver of a lot of attention, but I don't think it'll just die off once she graduates or once she decides to leave Iowa. Connor says the game has grown a lot in the last year or so. I think people realized during last year's tournament how fun women's basketball is to watch. Yeah, I think that has something to do with it. Bear Down says ESPN invested in showing more March Madness for women. Yep, because they have the contract. Yeah, and because when you're looking at the men's March Madness, it's not going to be on ESPN. But ESPN will have the women's March Madness, and that for sure is incentive for them to cover it a lot more. But for the last like decade, they've had the women's March Madness, and I still feel like they upped their game in terms of like how they're covering it and sort of what they're talking about. Michaela says, we are for sure in a different era. I couldn't escape Caitlin Clark last night. Pam and Egg says there's more parity now. Ty says, yes, thanks to Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese in NIL. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Jimmy agrees, said it 100% started with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. I think you're right about that. I think you're right. Nina, that is funny. That is funny, Nina. Nina says, my dad called me last night and said, you like basketball. Do you know about Kathleen Clark? Even dads that don't know nothing about women's basketball, they talk about Kathleen Clark. That's funny that he didn't even know her name, but he knew something happened with some lady with the last name Clark. That's pretty funny. Nina, I like, did you tell your dad, hey, yes, I do. Let's turn on the game and let's watch a women's basketball game and talk about it. It for sure isn't introductory. I think there's a lot of people who the last sort of several months or so they've been introduced to women's basketball in a way that they haven't before. Like I said, it was even on NPR. NPR was talking about, they were specifically talking about Caitlin, but the fact that you have NPR talking about women's basketball and it's not something bad. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like I think it's, I think it shows growth. I think it shows a lot of growth in the women's game. RC says we need a couple of Caitlin Clarks. I love women's college basketball, but some of the crowd will follow her out, unfortunately. Yeah, some of them will, but the hope is that they'll be followed by new people as sort of that old crowd sort of leaves. Jimmy says that was the first women's hoops game I ever watched, and that got me into it. The NCAA tournament last year. That's awesome, Jimmy. That is awesome. Guys, in the comments, let me know. Was last year for the Final Four, was that your introduction to women's basketball? Let me know in the comments. Because I do think it did introduce a lot of people to women's basketball. And they were like, actually, this is pretty cool. They got some drama in it. These ladies can ball. Like, I think I like this, Yeah, so I will say I do think that last year's tournament really, really helped the game grow, for sure. Also, guys, while we are in here, if y'all can hit that like button, that would be fantastic. We got 159 people in the chat. If we can get to 100 likes, that would be phenomenal. Hitting the like button is not just like a random thing that people on YouTube ask you to do. We ask it because it helps more people find the channel. And specifically, it helps YouTube push this to more people while we are live, instead of folks sort of finding out about this after the fact. The more people like it, the more likely YouTube will, while we're on here, we'll show this for somebody else and be like, hey, are you interested in watching this? And hopefully they are, and then we'll, have more people join us. Frank says NBC, ABC, ESPN, Peacock, it was everywhere this year. Absolutely, Frank. It really was. It really was. And I don't remember this being on Peacock last year. Maybe it was, but I don't remember it. And it got me to subscribe to Peacock because I wasn't planning on subscribing. And I have what's a flex box for Xfinity. And when I turned on the box, the first thing I saw was Iowa versus Michigan. Do you want to watch the game? The first card. And for it shows a lot for Comcast to put that as the first thing someone saw when they turned on the box. And they're doing it because they know interest is there. I just think it's awesome. I just think it's really, 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 really awesome. Shout out to Michelle for the super chat. I appreciate you, Michelle. I really do appreciate y'all. Really, really do. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see what the rest of y'all got to say. Bear Down says LSU gets more hate than coverage. Bear Down, you may be right about that. you may be right about that. I would say LSU gets more drama coverage than anything else. Just because there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff happening with LSU, with Kateri Poole leaving the team, in a way that we still don't know what happened, with Angel Reese, being out for several games, and still not really understanding what what happened on that front. It's the question mark of when, like, what Kim Mulkey's going to do with Haley Van Lith at the point, and if she's going to have her like have Laster Poa sort of be on, like, be the number one point guard. I looked at a recent presser that she did, and she actually is giving no indication that she will do that. So update for you guys: Poa is not PG1. I thought she played well enough to sort of earn that spot, but it turns out doesn't look like that is the case. KA says, I think so many eyes are on Caitlin Clark. So that's the hype. But if you watch the women's game, then you know the freshmen are the creators of the new era. Yes. These freshmen, y'all, we're going to do a future live stream specifically about these freshmen because they're different. They're built different. You have Madison Booker at Texas. You got Juju Watkins at Southern Cal. You got Mylasia Fulwiley at South Carolina. You got who else you got? You got Michaela Williams at LSU. You got Hannah Hidalgo at Notre Dame. Like, these freshmen are different. They're built different. DRZ says, amazing era right now. Personalities are rising. Talent has started the groundswell. Now sports media has to start shifting even further. DRZ, how would you recommend they continue to shift going forward? I would love to just hear your thoughts on that. Country says, I think as long as new stars are being developed, the popularity will continue. Yes, I agree. And with these new freshmen that are in, and with the players who are to come, Sarah Strong, the number one prospect coming in, we still don't know where she's going. But, with players like that, it's just, the game is looking like it's in good hands. That's all I got to say. Bear Down says, throughout the social media era, I wish the media pushed more / hype on the game when Skylar Diggins-Smith, Brittany Griner, and Elena Delle Donne was in college. Yeah. I would agree with you. I would agree. But I think, social media, I think, has kind of forced the actual media to really, really get on the women's basketball game bandwagon, because there's just so many people talking about it. There's a lot of people talking about it. JB says, I absolutely love the growth and popularity of the game, but I feel it's long overdue. Facts. We've had all-time greats. I feel like so many missed out on appreciating. Yeah, I mean, that's correct. I mean, JB, you're right. But, there's no time like the present. Yes, the players of old, like the Tamika Catchings and the Maya Moores, and even the Stewies. Yes, Stewie got a lot of recognition, but she did not get what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are getting in terms of as many people sort of saying her name. Yes, she won 4 championships in a row. Basically the most decorated women's college basketball player ever in terms of just sheer championships and sort of other awards won. And we didn't see people talking about Stewie like they talking about Caitlin and even Angel. We didn't see that. And it's just, it's long overdue, but I am for sure happy about it. I am very, very happy about it. RC says, Quita, that's why it's bitter people everywhere, because we lost in the championship game, and still Caitlin and Iowa are taking the women's basketball world by storm. I mean, yeah, I mean, people not gonna like it, like stuff. It sort of is what it is. Oh, so okay. So Frank says the Final Four was his introduction. That's awesome, Frank. That's awesome. Glad to have you on board. Frank, you have since I've been doing this, it feels like you have women's basketball super fan vibes. And I love it. And I think it's kind of cool that you just kind of started with the Final Four last year. Like that's pretty amazing, Frank. Shout out to all y'all newbies to women's basketball. Like this is, I love the fact that last year's Final Four kind of got you into it, and it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Jimmy says, yep, I got tickets for me and my nephew to see LSU play at the end of the month. That's awesome. That is great. That is really, really great. Danielle says, I was mad at ESPN for cutting into my South Carolina versus Tennessee game. They could have split screen. A lot of folks are mad. Yeah, but, ESPN had a whole crew that it wasn't even their game. It was Peacock's game. But ESPN paid Peacock for the rights to, cover it. They had Holly Rowe there. So you knew if they paying for it, they going to make sure to milk it for all it got. So I get it. I get why that made people mad, but I also get why they did it. Because, why send personnel down there if you're not gonna milk this for all it's worth. Nicholas says the Iowa versus South Carolina game was a real watershed moment for women's hoops overall. I could see that. I could absolutely see that. RC says, I've been watching women's college basketball since 95. That's awesome. All right. Since 95. And I've known about even before that. So RC's telling us that he's been a fan for forever, basically. He's been a fan of women's basketball for forever. And that's awesome. That is great. Shakim says, Q, love that you don't limit your coverage to one team. You are a true sports analyst. I can tell you so much about South Carolina sports, but I struggle to talk about women's college basketball as a whole. Well, Shakim, that's why I'm here. And that's, I literally, before making this channel, all the stuff I'm telling y'all about, I would talk to my mom. I would talk her ear off. Cause she, the rest of my family, they watch women's basketball and they support, but they don't really know it like that. And I would talk her ear off, talking about the whole lowdown of games that happened, like who did what, and like all this stuff. And I knew I had to start to talk to other people, because I don't none of my friends like women's basketball. Just my family. So, and even then, they're not into college women's basketball. They're not. I could talk to my mom about it. And she knows the bigger teams. But she doesn't know sort of nitty gritty. And so that's why I really, really do love this channel, because it gives me an opportunity to sort of talk about the game with people who are really into it also. And not just talk about one team, because talking about one team is just kind of boring. For all y'all who are big fans of one team, shout out to y'all. That's great. But since I didn't go to a big school, I have zero allegiance to teams. And I just sort of love the variety of watching different games every day, and just sort of seeing what happens and closely paying attention to various teams. But thank you so much for that comment, Shakim. Nina, come on. Nina says, I will never turn down the opportunity to insult Kim Mulkey. Why? What did she do to you? I'm just saying, Nina, what did she do to you? Nolan says, meanwhile, the high school kids coming up are so skilled. Facts. If you all are interested, let me know in the comments below. If you all are interested, we could do some sort of future edition of either a live or a produced video where I break down some of the top 20 or top 30 high school players that are coming out, either in their senior or junior year in high school, because y'all, we got some ballers. We got some straight up ballers for women's basketball in the future. Nivea says, it was not my first Final Four. I left after Candace Parker, but was brought back by South Carolina as well as the national championship game with Angel Reese / LSU. These girls are balling. Nivea, I feel that because I was for sure a huge Candace Parker Tennessee era fan. Yeah. And she did. Like, Candace Parker brought a lot of fans to the women's basketball game when she was at Tennessee. If y'all get that like button, that would be fantastic. We have 70 likes. If we can get to 100 likes, that would be awesome, awesome, awesome. There's some talk about LSU in the chat. About them losing Samaya Smith and how that was a huge deal. Yeah, absolutely, that was a huge deal. Bear, good point. Bear24 says Stewie had 5 stars all around her. Caitlin playing with players that were not big time coming out of high school. Facts. Stewie is the, like, I think I would say, I'll fact check myself later, but I would say that Stewie is the most decorated women's college basketball player. Caitlin, when it comes to offense, Caitlin is the most talented offensive college player that I have ever seen. I think when you start talking about GOAT, that's very different. That's very, very different. But the most talented offensive player, yes, I could for sure see an argument for that, because from assists, from points, she just kind of, I mean, she got you covered when it comes to offense. Let's see. Ty says, Final Four last year introduced me to women's basketball. Shout out to Georgia Amore and Elizabeth Kitley at Virginia Tech. Okay, that's Ty's home team. All right. Gotta support your home team. Nina G says, I'm a fan of way too many players to choose a singular team, NCAA or WNBA. I feel that. Nicholas says, I wish Cameron Brink was getting more coverage. She is quietly having one of the most dominant seasons in college, and no one is talking about it. I understand that. And I think here's my take on that. It's because she's at Stanford. And I feel like, yes, Tara Vanderveer gets a lot of attention, but I feel like in the past, Stanford got way more attention for women's basketball coverage. And because there's so much sort of like parity of like teams, not necessarily at Stanford's level, but just sort of teams that are just very good, that you see a lot more attention on the sort of Midwestern or East Coast teams than the California teams. And before, it was just Stanford, you know. What is that? Was west of the Mississippi. It was pretty much just Stanford that people talked about for women's basketball. It was Tennessee, UConn, Duke, Notre Dame, UNC, NC State a little bit, and it was Stanford. Now you see a lot more teams. Even west of the Mississippi that people are talking about. And I think that has sort of diminished people's attention to Stanford. But yeah, Cameron Brink is having a phenomenal season. Absolutely. And I think the Juju peg is because ESPN is trying to build Juju up. So that way, in about 2 years' time, I mean, yes, Juju also is playing lights out. She's also playing phenomenal. But I do think that ESPN is trying to make Juju the next face of women's basketball. And so even though, you know, she's at USC and the time zone difference and all that stuff, we're seeing a lot, at least I'm seeing a lot more coverage of Juju from ESPN because I think they're trying to build her as the new star. and they're going to need her in the future years. So I think that's why she is giving a lot of attention. But let me know in the comments what y'all think about that. All right. Okay, that was like a rant that I did about the women's game and sort of how much more attention it's getting. So we will segue back into the top 16 conversation, which is what this whole this whole stream is about. But I did just want to talk about that. Bear Down says, I started watching women's basketball when Allie Quigley and Candace Parker were top Illinois prospects. Yes. I didn't really have any fandom towards any teams, but always watched and supported. That's awesome. Do you remember Allie Quigley's sister? They were both really, really good. Coming up in high school, in Illinois high school basketball. Honestly says, what it do, Q and awesome people of the internet. What it do, honestly. Hello. Happy Friday. I hope you had a good day. Bear Down also says, Juju gonna wreck the Big Ten. So the Fox network will take over that, and hopefully not ESPN. Well, Peacock is doing a lot of Big Ten stuff as well. So we'll see that. Mo says, what teams made the number 2 seed? Well, that is a good segue. That is a good segue to go back to the original conversation, which is the top 16 teams. So if we take a look at here, we kind of talked about South Carolina, Ohio State, Stanford, and Colorado, who are the number 1 seeds as of right now, guys, and I kind of talked about how I think it's no brainer for me for South Carolina, for Ohio State, for Stanford. I have a bit of a question mark in terms of Colorado and whether or not they should really be in that spot. But let's get into the sort of second tier of teams. So for the second tier of teams, we have NC State, we have Iowa, Texas, and UCLA. So I will. So let's sort of talk about these 4 teams. So when it comes to NC State, no issues with them being ranked where they are. NC State is very, very talented. They're ranked 6 on this list, but they're in the sort of that second grouping. NC State is good. Like, you have Sanaya Rivers, you have River Baldwin. They're a good team. And NC State is a team that, yes, they've had some losses that they shouldn't have had, but overall, I think they are a perfect 2 seed. Perfect 2 seed. No issues with that. I will say for Texas was higher than NC State. I'm sorry. No. Let's talk about Iowa first, and then we'll get into Texas. So Iowa was number 5 on the ranking. So it was South Carolina, Stanford, Ohio State, Colorado, Iowa, NC State, UCLA, and Texas. So Iowa, I'm okay with Iowa being the number two seed. I know there've been some sort of controversies around whether or not Iowa should actually be where they are, and personally, I don't have a problem with them being in that 2 seed. When it comes to the season so far, they are 23-3. They have a really good record. They have lost 2 games in conference play. That a game against Nebraska. They also lost against Ohio State. Iowa's had a good season so far. So I they also lost to K-State earlier in the year, but then they rebounded and then beat them the second time they played them. So I am okay with Iowa being at the 2 seed. I've seen some arguments online about them being too high and whatnot, but I am okay with it because the strength of schedule, yes, is a factor. However, they played some good teams. And the Big Ten is not a slouch league. So those are kind of my thoughts about Iowa. I definitely don't think they should be in the number 1 seed. But the number 2 seed, I'm okay with. I think it's fair, based off of how they've played this year. Yes, they've had some near losses, but again, guys, they're still like talented. So like, I don't know. I'm cool. I'm cool with Iowa being number 2. I am cool with that, because if I were to move them, then I would have to ask the question, who would I put in their place? And I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure about that. When we look at the other teams, UCLA, I would say that I think UCLA is low on this list. I would say that UCLA is low, because one thing to know is that like UCLA didn't have Lauren Betts for several games, and they play in the Pac-12. The toughest team, toughest league in my opinion, for women's basketball this year. And I think they had a good argument for being a 1 seed. I really do. I really, really do think that they could have been a 1 seed. So for those who don't know, UCLA is 19-4 on the season. So like, yes, you may say 19-4, like that is crazy, but all 4 of their losses have come in the Pac-12, which has just been a gauntlet, absolute gauntlet. They lost to USC in January. They lost to Utah, which is a team that is just sort of confusing. I would say at times. They lost to Washington State. They lost to Stanford. But a thing to note is that they didn't have Lauren Betts. So I don't put that much weight in I don't put that much weight into the Stanford loss and into the Washington State loss because of Lauren Betts. When you have Lauren Betts on UCLA, they are a number 1 seed. They are a number 1 seed. Yes, they have 4 losses on the season. But y'all, the Pac-12 is crazy. Absolute madness is the Pac-12. And I don't put a ton into those losses. Also because some of those were when Lauren Betts was out. Lauren Betts is back, and her being on this team, they're a number 1 seed. I disagree with them being number 2 when it's all said and done. I understand why they're put at number 2 because, they're probably not weighing Lauren Betts being out, and they probably want to wait and see what UCLA does for the rest of Pac-12 play. And then 2, specifically what UCLA does in Pac-12 tournament play. So I think as long as UCLA wins the Pac-12, I am okay. Like they should be a 1 seed. If they win the Pac-12, they should be a 1 seed. The Pac-12 tournament, they should be a 1 seed. And I think they will. So actually, if they win or get second place to Stanford, I think they become a 1 seed because the Pac-12. If y'all have not been paying attention, I feel bad for you because the Pac-12 has been one of the most entertaining things this season for women's college basketball. The Pac-12 is madness, absolute madness. You have teams that are just, any team can get got. From Utah beating you to Oregon State beating you to to Arizona, getting some stuff as well. To Colorado. It's just the Pac-12 is very good, very, very, very good. Washington State, and so I don't put too much into a Pac-12 loss, depending on who it's against. So I think UCLA, when it's all said and done, will be a number 1 seed. All right, now let's get to Texas. So Texas is a team that I don't know. I don't fully know how I think about Texas. I will say, I really don't know what I think about Texas. And the reason why I say that is because Texas is great, right? You had Rory Harmon come out with a she's out for the season ending injury. And you would think that yes, Texas was really, really good when with Rory Harmon sort of leading the charge as a point guard. But when she went down, at least I had a question about, okay, what does this team look like without Rory Harmon, with Madison Booker being PG1 for this team? I would say that I didn't expect them to continue to be very good. Texas is a great team. They are 12-3 on the season. And the losses, and let's sort of like look at the losses that they've had so far. They lost against Baylor. They lost against K-State. And they also lost against Oklahoma, which Oklahoma's a fun team. Like, I just gotta say, Oklahoma is a very, very fun team. And y'all better watch out if you sleeping on Oklahoma. Yes, Oklahoma is not in that top 16, but come tournament time, Oklahoma's gonna be kind of fun. Oklahoma is going to be kind of fun. But yeah, so Texas, they haven't lost a ton. But I don't know. I don't totally know what I truly think about Texas being in that 2 seed. Like, sure, they haven't had much losses on this year, but is their conference that competitive? Besides K-State and Baylor, and Oklahoma, that's about it for the Big 12. So I don't know about Texas being the number 2 seed because of the strength of the Big 12. So that's kind of my thing. That's kind of, they're very talented, very, very talented team that have done well, especially without their point guard, Rory Harmon, and having Madison Booker. Yes, Madison Booker did play. I believe she did play point guard in high school, but still playing point guard at a college level is a different thing. And she's been balling. She's been doing well on that front. So I don't know. I don't know about Texas at number 2. I don't know about Texas at number 2. But let's get into what y'all have to say about the second tier of teams. Let's see what y'all got to say in the comments. Michael says, I agree, not real high on Texas either, or K-State. Yeah, we're going to get into K-State in just a hot sec. Bear says Texas is a 4 seed to me. I actually could see them as a 3 seed, as a bubble 3 seed, /4 seed. Bree Wayne says, what happened to Baylor once that girl said they own Texas? It's been down. Yeah. Baylor is the plight of Baylor this season is a conversation for another day, and it will be a long conversation. lots of thoughts about the plight of Baylor when they were looking good, and then you're right, they did go downhill from there. There's some talk about the Pac-12. Let's see. Nicholas says Texas is too high. Miss Peach says, I don't like how they weighted losses for some teams. Doesn't seem balanced. Yeah, I mean, it's all subjective. It's all subjective. So they may have a certain reasoning for ranking someone so high because of strength of schedule, but then they may ignore it for the next team. Like it sort of depends. It's all subjective. Russell says Colorado is losing to Utah right now. The second quarter. Yeah, in the second quarter. So Utah is one of the most confusing teams in the country. I don't understand Utah. I don't understand Utah. Utah, they dominate in certain games, and in other games they look terrible. So yeah. Eventually, we got to talk about Baylor and we got to talk about Utah, because lots of stuff to say on that front. Michaela says I would put in LSU for Texas, but they got some bad losses. Bear says Utah is that sleeper team for me. Yeah, they are a sleeper team. Yep. Kayla says, I don't know about Texas either. I don't trust them in big games on a neutral site. Yeah. Michelle says, Bree-Wayne, I see you, fam, in Captain Will, Quita, and Cess channel. We are everywhere. I do know who Captain Will is, but who is Cess? Is that like abbreviation for someone? I would. Who's that? I would love to subscribe. Or maybe I am already subscribed and I'm just like blanking on like who exactly that is. But yeah, I mean, these women's basketball streets are kind of small when it comes to YouTube. So yeah, I think we all sort of like cross-pollinate everywhere. Because Captain Will for sure is doing his thing, talking about South Carolina. And he got some good interviews on his channel too. He got some good interviews. All right, so let's continue on. Let's do a quick segue. Nolan says, Quita, can you do a quick Pac-12 live game update? If you could fit it in. I think there's 4 or 5 games tonight. So yeah, let's do that, and then we're gonna move on to the 3rd seed. Also, while we're doing that and while I'm pulling that up, if y'all can do me an absolute favor and hit that like button, that would be fantastic. The goal right now is to hit 100. If y'all can hit that like button, that would be pretty awesome. While I pull up ESPN's website and we take a look at the teams that are playing tonight. All right, so let's do a bit of an update on what's going on. Let's do a bit of an update. But guys, let me know in the chat, what are y'all eating tonight? Let me know in the chat, what are you eating? What are you eating? Let me know. I'm asking because I still haven't figured out what I know what I'm eating. I made a breakfast skillet. I know it's for breakfast. It's supposed to be for breakfast, but I think I'm gonna use it for I'm gonna eat it for dinner, only because I didn't actually make any like dinner food. I just made food for breakfast. So I think that's probably what I'll eat for dinner. But let me know in the comments, what are y'all eating for dinner? What are y'all eating for dinner? All right, I think I have this up. All right, so let's take a look at the games that are happening right now, and let's first look into Arizona State versus Washington. Washington is winning 25-15 at the half. We have Washington State playing Arizona. Wow. Okay, Arizona. Okay. Arizona's winning 33-17. Let's see who doing some stuff for Arizona. Let's see who doing some stuff. All right, Williams and Puyo and Jones. Okay. All right. Arizona kind of confuses me too. They're kind of confusing this year. All right, let's look at Utah versus Colorado. We have Utah winning 39-24 points. Let's see who's doing some stuff for them. We got Jalen Sherrod with 7 points for Colorado, and Peely with 11, and Johnson with 10. I will say, like, if Peely's on, Utah has a chance of winning. If Peely's off, it's kind of hard for them to do something. It is kind of hard for them to do something. Let's look at some of the other games. Princeton is playing Brown. Princeton beat Brown 74-62. And UConn is playing Georgetown. And of course, UConn is destroying Georgetown. 85-44, a minute and 24 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Some of the other games that y'all should be cognizant of for today include Cal versus Stanford. Stanford should win that game. Oregon State versus UCLA, which to me is the game of the night. And the reason why I say it's the game of the night is because Oregon State is good, y'all. Like, they're very good. And yes, as I said, I do believe that UCLA is a number one seed, and when it's all said and done, I do think UCLA comes out with the victory in this game, but it's gonna be a battle. Oregon State's good, and then we have USC versus Oregon. So that is your Friday night game update. Thank you so much for who requested that. Was that Nolan that requested that? Thanks for requesting that, Nolan. We just did a quick overview of some of the teams. Bree Wayne asked a question. SEC is overrated. They've won the last 2 championships. I guess there's some SEC talk in the comments. I mean, when it comes down to it, the SEC I think has a little bit less parity. In terms of like the separation of teams than exists in the Pac-12, and possibly also exists for the ACC. But the SEC is a very, 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 very talented league that will have multiple teams in the top 68 when it's all said and done. But yeah, at the tippy top, you only got South Carolina, and then right under South Carolina, you got LSU for the SEC. Nicholas says the Big 12 is easily the worst out of the Power 5. Maybe the Big East. I'd probably say the Big East. Kayla says SEC is not overrated. They are actually underachieving, which I would agree with. And it's obvious. Those watching and covering women's basketball are aware they aren't good this season. No one said they were good this season. They are underperforming. Yeah. As a whole, they are underperforming. Yeah. Bear says Utah battle tested. They gonna make a run this year. We'll see. Kayla says, speaking of Big East, I feel the basketball team should have been in the ACC years ago. What? I don't think I understand your message. Kayla says, Quita shouted you out on her channel too. I feel like I know this person, but I'm just not clicking on like the channel. Because it's not a ton of women's basketball channels. Oh, I found it. Says Talk Sports. I have not checked this channel out, and I cannot believe that I haven't. So thank y'all for letting me know about Cess Talk Sports. I am for sure gonna subscribe right now. All right, it's at CESS Talk Sports. Y'all check Cess Talk Sports out. I have not actually visited this channel before, so I'm glad y'all are putting it to my attention. And that will for sure be what I will do after the stream is over. Because I love listening to what other folks on YouTube have to say about women's basketball. So, yeah. Jeff, I would say the Pac-12. Yeah, I would say that's the toughest conference. Kelsey says, Quita, don't play the breakfast rules. Yeah, I mean, I you know, if it means I don't have to go out and cook nothing, I mean, go out and buy nothing, and I got stuff cooked already, like, cause I was gonna make chicken. I was gonna do like a chicken with ravioli like earlier this week, but it turns out the chicken, I let it sit in my refrigerator too long and it went bad. And I didn't realize it until I was about to pull it out to cook. So I had the breakfast skillet for breakfast, and I was gonna eat the chicken and ravioli for dinner, but the chicken went bad, so I'm just left with breakfast skillet because I haven't felt like going back to the store to buy some more chicken. Okay, so let's see what y'all eating. So let's see what y'all eating. Bear Down says, I'm eating ravioli as I type in the chat. That's awesome. Ravioli's good. Canned ravioli or did you make your own ravioli? Let me know. No issues with canned ravioli because I love me some canned ravioli. I do. Jaden says, made me some honey jerk boneless chicken thighs with yellow rice and roasted asparagus today. Oh my goodness, Jaden. Jaden did some cooking today. Man. I wish I could eat that. That sounds good. That sounds very, very good. Miss Peach says barbecue baked chicken and potato salad. Nice. Michelle's eating a fish sandwich. America chicken noodle soup. My son gave me his cold. Are you eating cold chicken noodle soup? Paul says I'm Catholic, so I had a shrimp po' boy and fries. Yep, because it's Lent happening right now. Michael says, dang, I wasn't even hungry. Now y'all making me drool. Yeah, because y'all got some good stuff in the chat. Y'all eating good. Bob says creamy garlic mushroom shrimp orzo. I don't even know what orzo is, but it sounds good. Whatever it is. Deborah's eating a grilled cheese sandwich and coleslaw. Okay, y'all eating some good food. Jaden said, I don't play in the kitchen. I like to eat. I get you, Jaden. I get you. OT is eating McDonald's fish sandwich. Hey, no shame in that McDonald's game. No shame, no shame, no shame. Back to sports says Juju and Peely would have been great as well as a matchup. So having Peely go to USC, is that what the conversation is talking about? If so, I think that could have been pretty interesting. I would be down to watch that. It's not gonna happen, but I would be down to watch that. Juju playing with a player who's dominant as a big, that would be fun to watch. Like Juju, we know Juju can score, but also I believe that if Juju also doesn't just want to score alone, she wants to also get her teammates involved, but she can't. Her teammates are sort of like unpredictable. And I think as the years sort of go on, USC is going to be getting some good incoming recruits in for next year and the year after that and whatnot. So like she's going to have more help around her because I think Juju is down to be like a passer, not pass first, but be a passer and someone who yes for sure is looking for her shot, but also knows that if I pass the ball to my teammate, they can actually score. So a Peely and Juju combo could have been fun to watch. We won't see it anymore, but that could have been fun to watch. Adrian says, I agree. The Big East is the worst. Yeah. There's just not much parity in the Big East. There's not much parity. There is not much parity. Michelle says, Quita, Captain Will, and Seth Talk Sports primarily cover Gamecocks women's basketball with a sprinkle talk about recruiting and other teams, while you cover the entire gamut of women's basketball, college, and WNBA. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I do try to like sort of like spread it out and sort of talk about everybody, mainly because I don't have a favorite team in NCAA. But as y'all know, when it comes to women the WNBA, I rock with the Chicago Sky, as you can tell on my sweatshirt. But yeah. I mean, I think having content specific to certain teams is also very important as well. So shout out to Says Talk Sports and shout out to Captain Will. Also, shout out to Back to Sports who's in the chat right now. Back to Sports makes some really good content as well for women's basketball, covering lots of different teams, also covering the WNBA as well. So shout out to Back to Sports for being in the chat and for making some really good women's basketball content. So if y'all don't know about Back to Sports, y'all need to check him out. Now, come on, Back to Sports. I give you a good a good shout out. Now you want to talk about my sky? You want to talk about my sky? No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, the Sky are in trouble this year. You're absolutely right, and I have resigned myself to that fact, and I am okay with it. It is what it is. But yeah, don't get at me. Don't get at me, Back to Sports. I know that the Sky is not going to be very good, but I am very much excited about Kennedy Carter coming to the Sky because I think she can actually make a new home here. So yeah, but yeah, y'all do not hurt my heart and talk about the Chicago Sky because it's just kind of sad. It's just kind of sad. It's just kind of sad, Yeah, he did. It is what it is. It is what it is. Bear down, come on, man. Bear down says only God can save the Sky. Yeah, we're not going to be very good. But I 100% believe in Coach Teresa Weatherspoon. I completely believe in her. I think I am really, really happy that the Chicago Sky picked her as our coach. Yes, we will not be very good this year, but I think she's going to build something with this team. I think she's going to build an identity a defensive identity with this team. And I am very much excited for the future of the Chicago Sky. Just give us, maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 years, and then we'll be good. But yeah, I believe in Teaspoon. I think she's going to do very well. And yes, we got rid of Kalia Copper, and we're rebuilding and making something new. And at first, I was upset about it, but I'm like, you know what? Let's embrace it. Let's build something new. Let's build through the draft. We got the number 3 pick in the WNBA draft this upcoming year. So I am hopeful for the future of the Chicago Sky. But we will not be good for about 2, 3, maybe 4 years. So give us some grace. Give us some grace. I will be at every game. And I will be cheering and supporting and all that stuff. But knowing we ain't going nowhere, and that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to rebuild. It is okay to rebuild, and that is what the Chicago Sky is doing. So yeah. That was a quick. When someone talk about the Chicago Sky, that's the number one thing. If y'all want to deter me on, we talking about one thing and y'all want to get me off track, mention the Chicago Sky, and I'm a weave right up. I'm gonna go right outside of that road. I'm gonna go take a side street, and we're gonna talk about the Chicago Sky, and then we're gonna come right back. We're gonna come right back. To the task at hand. What up, Earlis? How you doing today? Hawkman says Juju is a special player. She is. Facts. And sort of the longer term version of USC is going to be very, very good. Right now, Juju has to kind of do everything herself, and she's not like a more like a passer. But I think in the upcoming years, as she has more support, she will be more of a passer, and she'll be a lot better. Nicholas says Sky angling for Juju in 4 years. I mean, what's wrong with that? I'm just saying, what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? As I said, we're not gonna be good for about 2, 3, maybe 4 years. So Juju's gonna be out by the end. So maybe I'm just saying, maybe. All right, so guys, we did our detour. We are coming back to the task at hand, which is talking about the top 16 teams and where they should be ranked. So I did not do like a sort of a medley of logos like I did for this. So for this, we're gonna go back to the main top seeds list because I didn't actually grab the rest of these logos, but let's talk about them. So we have for third seed, we have UConn, USC, Oregon State, and Virginia Tech. So let's kind of talk about this. So when it comes to UConn, I'm okay with them being in the third seed. Though I could absolutely see an argument for them not being as high as they are. But I'm okay. I'm okay with them being number 3 seed. I don't totally have an issue with that. For USC, I'm a little bit more squishy on USC, and the reason why I'm squishy on them is because yes, they play in the Pac-12, and and also, guys, just so you all know, when I say USC, I mean Southern California. There's people who say USC, but they mean South Carolina. When I say USC, I mean Southern California. Okay. That is what I mean. So if I say USC, that's what I mean. All right. So let's talk about USC women's basketball. Like, USC is a good team. Very good team. They're 18-4 on the season. All 4 of their losses have been in Pac-12 play. And as we said with like earlier, that the Pac-12 is a gauntlet. The Pac-12 is just a crazy, crazy, crazy time. And you don't really know what to expect. So USC, they lost to UCLA earlier in the season. They lost to Utah, which Colorado's getting got by Utah right now. USC also lost to Colorado as well, and they lost to Washington, which the Washington one, out of all the losses, I think that that the Washington one is the thing that hurts USC a lot in my eyes. And having them at the third seed, yes, they haven't lost to a non-Pac-12 team. And the teams that they lost to in the Pac-12 are good teams. I mean, even Washington is a good team, though they shouldn't have lost to Washington. So I'm okay with USC being the number 3 seed, though I am worried about USC because USC is primarily a team that is mainly focused on one player, right? You have Juju Watkins, who is the end-all be-all for this team. Yes, you have other players like Ryan Marshall and whatnot, but like it really is just Juju. It really is. And I think that's going to come to bite USC when it really comes down to it. It's really going to hurt them because there's nobody else that you can really rely on for USC consistently. And because of that, they're at the number 3 seed and that's fine, but I don't think they do much in the NCAA tournament because they're going to need more than Juju, and consistently that's what they got. They got Juju. And that's not enough to make it far. One single player is not enough. Yes, UCLA is all about Lauren Betts, but you also have Charisma Osborne. You also have Kiki Rice. You have other players who are talented on the team. Yes, they don't always show up, but they show up more than USC's players show up. I would say. So yeah, let's talk about the rest of the teams. Oregon State's good. I am 100% A-okay with Oregon State being the number 3 seed. Again, Oregon State is just showing everybody that the Pac-12 means business this year. The Pac-12 means business. The fact that we have Oregon State, we have Colorado, Stanford, USC, UCLA, all in the top 16 doing their thing, y'all. Like, yeah. They're looking good. The Pac-12 is looking good, and the Pac-12 is over after this year. So, might as well go out with a bang. We also have Virginia Tech at the number 3 seed as well. I have no issues with this. Virginia Tech is good. They're very good. You have Georgia Amore, who was just a shooter, also a really good passer. You have Elizabeth Kitley, who has that signature fadeaway shot that nobody in college seems to be able to stop. They look good. And Kenny Brooks is doing a good job coaching them up. So I have zero issues with Virginia Tech being where they are. So yeah, let's see what y'all got to say. Let's see what y'all got to say about this. Back to Sports says Georgia Amore has been really up and down this year. Sure, but I think when it all comes down to it, when it really matters, Georgia Amore is a baller that's ready for big time. So when in the NCAA, just like she did last year, she's gonna ball out. So yeah, up and down, but still very, very good. Go Sam says Albany Regional number 1 is brutal. Albany Regional number 2 seems meh. So let's look at number 1. So yeah, it is brutal because you have South Carolina, you have UCLA, UConn, and Louisville. I will say this absolutely, like UCLA, in my opinion, will be a number 1 seed. So I'm gonna remove UCLA out of this, but having UConn have to face South Carolina to get out of the regional that's tough. that is tough because we know they're not getting past. They're not getting past them. Bear Down says Corey Close is in the hot seat. Probably. Probably. I will say, I also saw somewhere. I can't find it anymore. I cannot find it anymore, but there was some talk about UCLA. I can't find it anymore. I saw some comment about UCLA. If UCLA, well, one, the hot seat for women's college basketball is very different than like the hot seat for like the WNBA or another sort of professional team. Sure, she's on a hot seat, but like they're not getting rid of Corey Close. No, that won't happen for a lot more years down the line. So yeah, sure, she's in the hot seat maybe, but she's not going anywhere. For those who don't know, she's been at UCLA since 2011. So I don't believe she's going anywhere. But she is in the hot seat. I do think she's sweating a little bit. Probably especially after that. Who was that game against? Washington or some school. That she was sort of like very emotional in the presser. I assume it was because something unknown was going on with the team or in team personnel. Maybe it was related to Lauren Betts, maybe it wasn't, but that was sort of like what I thought, that maybe it was related to Lauren Betts and that, you know, she's just emotional because she's very close to her team and she really cares about them. So that was kind of what I thought. That's sort of what I took from that. And I think that did kind of make people wonder, like, what's happening? What's happening over there? But she's not going anywhere. I think she's a good coach. And also, she got Lauren Betts to go to UCLA. Like, that's a huge deal. You know, a lot of teams would have loved for Lauren Betts to go to their team, and she chose UCLA. So in terms of getting players to buy in, she can absolutely do that. All right. Kayla says, okay, y'all just saying anything in the chat now. Kelsey says no one wants to face South Carolina. I agree. Yes, I agree with that. I do agree with that. All right, so talked about the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed. Now on to the 4 seed. So for the 4 seed, we have Louisville, LSU, Oregon State, Louisville, LSU, Indiana, and K-State. That is who we have in the 4 seed. Now, I have some thoughts about this one. Louisville, no issues with Louisville being in the 4 seed. I think they're a really good team. I don't have a problem with it. For LSU, yes, they had some bad losses. Absolutely, some bad losses this year. In particular, that game against Auburn. But I think that the committee overcompensated from where they had LSU. Like last year, they had LSU too high, based off of their strength of schedule, and this year it seems like they're trying to right their wrong of last year and have LSU as the 4 seed. I think when you look at who's on LSU's roster, and yes, they have some bad losses, but I think they should be probably the 3 seed. Yes, strength of schedule matters. And initially we had conversations earlier this year about does LSU have a cupcake schedule, a cupcake non-conference schedule? And is it going to come back to bite them when it comes to the NCAA tournament? Now it seems like it's coming to bite them. It's coming back to bite them. So that is for sure a thing. And they've been punished for not having a good non-conference schedule. And maybe that's something that Kim Mulkey's going to think about next season as she's sort of like figuring out what her schedule looks like for non-conference. Because, the SEC is a while it's not as competitive as it used to be in the past, it's still, you still got some good teams to play and because of their easy non-conference schedule, I think it hurt their sort of team chemistry. It hurt Haley Van Lift's ability to truly take on the point position, because if you all remember, she dealt with plantar fasciitis for a long period. She may still be dealing with it right now, but like it was really, 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 really bad earlier in the season. She didn't get to develop as much as she had planned to. You also have Angel Reese that was out several games. You also have last year Poa that left. You have a lot of stuff that happened, and I think that had LSU had a tougher non-conference schedule, I think all of that stuff could have built the bench up. It could have built the bench up, but because they didn't really play anybody. Yes, they played Colorado, but besides that, they didn't really play anybody for non-conference, and that hurt them. Yes, they got dubs, sure, very important. They got dubs, but you didn't get a chance to really, really grow your. You didn't get a chance to really, really grow your team, especially your bench. And now it's coming back to bite them a little bit. When it comes down to it, I do think that LSU is extremely talented. And as long as they don't end up in a like right now in the regional that LSU is in, even if they're the 4 seed, I think they come out of Albany 2. If this is the way stuff is set up, they come out of Albany 2, regional 2. They win the regional. Yes, I 100% believe that they will win it. The only matchup to me that would be bad for LSU in terms of not being able to make it out of the regional and make it to the Final Four, the only way is if if they were in Albany Regional 1 against South Carolina, then yeah, they won't make it out. But against Ohio State, against NC State, USC, I think they make it out. I do think they make it out. They get it together when it matters the most. Shout out to Frank. Thank you so much, Frank, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Frank says, will the Sky win 10 games? Yeah, they'll win 10 games. I think they'll win 10 games. Yeah. Yeah. I think they'll win 10 games. Yes. So yeah. So I mean the season's 40 games. So they'll win at least 10 of them. Yes. How much more? I don't know. But I think they'll win at least 10. Michelle says, Quita, as a South Carolina fan, think that LSU seeding is due to easy non-conference. Only one ranked team win, with SEC so-called down the season. Hard for them to move up. Yeah. I think that's exactly why they're ranked number 4. That's exactly why they're ranked number 4. However, when you just look at LSU, yes, they've had bad losses. But if you just look at their team, they're not a 4 seed. They're not. Should they be placed in that 4 seed route because of the easy schedule that they had in non-conference? Yes. And also because of some of the winnable games that they just laid an egg on in the SEC? Yes. Yes, they probably should be number 4 to sort of punish them for that. But I think you got to be kidding yourselves if you don't think if this top 16 was written in stone. I don't see how you don't say that LSU makes it out of the Albany Regional 2. Like, Ohio State is phenomenal. They really are. But I think if it's a win or go home game, I would put LSU above Ohio State. I would put them above Ohio State. Ohio State's talented. I love watching LSU play, but I mean when we get into the tournament, we're gonna see a different LSU team, in my opinion. Will I be wrong? Who knows? I might be wrong, but I really do think we'll see a different team, and they're not going to be as bad as they have played this year. Let's see. Shakim says LSU has lost to non-ranked teams. They have no depth. This makes them vulnerable to fatigue, to foul trouble, and a lot of pressure. Yeah, I mean it does absolutely make them vulnerable, especially to foul trouble. Now, if Angel Reese gets in foul trouble in the tournament, all bets are off. It is not looking good for LSU. But I think that they are going to lock in, and they're not going to allow that to happen. Like, I don't. Again, could I be wrong? Yes, I could be. But at the end of the day, I think if it's a win or go home game, I think that LSU makes it through the regional. I think they make it through the regional. Let's see. Oh, I agree with you, JB. JB says, at the end of the day, regardless of what you think about their non-conference, you don't want to play LSU. When LSU is peaking, they're as good as anyone. Yes. The problem is they haven't peaked much of anything this season. The problem for them. But I think they'll get it. They'll get it together. Probably. Oh, Nicholas says LSU is not beating Ohio State and NC State. I have to disagree with you. I think if it's win or go home, I think they beat them. I think they beat them. If it's win or go home. But again, we'll see. Honestly, I'm just telling my opinion. I don't actually care if LSU loses to both or loses to NC State or Ohio State. I don't really care, but I really do think, I really, really, really do think they make it out. Kyra says, I agree. I think LSU beats all those teams, even in a series. Yeah. Shakim says once Reese gets fouled out, they're in trouble. Yeah. Back Sports says I gotta pick Q on where Sarah Strong is going. So I'm not gonna tell you. leave the suspense. I'm actually working on a deep dive on Sarah Strong right now. So and I have predictions of where I think she'll go. So no, can't say right now, but but I definitely have a perspective on this, and we'll be putting that out there. So a little bit of suspense for y'all. So y'all should just make sure to check my upcoming videos, because we will be doing a deep dive into Sarah Strong, and we'll also be looking at some of the other big prospects that have not committed as well. So yeah, a little bit of suspense. All right, y'all give me y'all suggestions in the comments. Y'all give me y'all suggestions in the comments. Bear is reminding us that Notre Dame won the Natty with 5. And yeah, I agree. Sarah Strong is for sure is a young lady you would want. For sure. But yeah, no comment on Sarah Strong just yet. I will be doing something special around that sort of that coverage. I'm going to do a deep dive, and then we're going to talk all about Sarah Strong and how great she is, and what she's done in college. What she's done in high school, and why she really is the big get for colleges right now. All right, so guys, we kind of talked about a good amount of stuff today, right? We talked about the top 16 teams, letting you all know what the initial, what the committee initially had to say about the top teams and where they will go. Again, this is not set in stone. This is not official, but it is some really good. It is some really good fodder for us to kind of talk about. So yeah, I did just want to spend some time talking about that today. There also is other stuff that's happening in the world of women's basketball. I do want to talk about the WNBA as well for a hot second. I will get into the WNBA, but first I do want to see if there's any non-top 16 topics related to the NCAA that y'all want to talk about that's not related to Sarah Strong. We're not gonna talk about that just yet. Wait for the future. But yeah, is there anything else y'all want to talk about related to the NCAA? Because if not, we will move on to talk about the WNBA. Oh, thank you so much, Bob. Bob says, Quita, you're the best. Thanks to everybody for an interesting chat session. Be well, everybody. Well, farewell, Bob. Thanks for joining us. And y'all, I absolutely love y'all chatting in the chat. During lives, a lot of times I can't see every single chat that y'all put out there. But I do make sure to look back. I watch replays, and I do look back at the chat, and I do see what all y'all got to say. So yeah, I do appreciate y'all being very active in the chat and talking. Sometimes y'all got some wild stuff to say, but I'm here. I'm all here for it. I'm all here for it. Let's talk about the game we love, because not everybody has to agree, and that is A-okay in my book. That is A-okay. As a new topic, I do want to hear what y'all here. Let's actually change the scene on here. I do want to hear what y'all have to say about. So yesterday, Caitlin Clark hit the record. Great. And after she hit the record, we saw that I believe it was Holly Rowe posted on social media that Michigan's team wrote Caitlin Clark a message after she hit the achievement, and there's been lots of talk online about that, whether or not that was good or bad for Michigan to do. So let me know in the chat if y'all want me to talk about that, because I think that really is it's a really interesting topic. It really is, and it's very, very, very interesting. All right, so I do want to pop up the comment that Holly Rowe made. I'm gonna just try to put it right on the screen here. All right, so this is the comment, and Holly Rowe put on X. She says, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, says Lisa Bluter just said that all of Michigan women's basketball players wrote Caitlin Clark a note tonight. Unbelievable class from an opponent. So there's been different takes about this online. There's some people who are like, oh, this is great. This is great sportsmanship. This is awesome. But then there's other people that are like, what? Like you are competitors. What are you doing writing this girl that just torched y'all with 49 points? What are y'all doing writing her a note and signing it and giving it to her? You know what I'm saying? So I sort of see it both ways. I get people who are saying that that's wild for Michigan doing that. But yeah, we gonna get into some of the stuff that people put on Twitter, because I think that people really do have a point, and some people are sort of saying like this is too far. This is way too far, and I think they have a point. I think they really do have a point. So let's take a look at what some people had to say about it on Twitter. So Lexi Brown says, "Oh, they had already lost before the tip off." Yeah, it was not great. It was not great, especially if they did this before tip off. If they did this before tip off, they already had it in their minds that Caitlin Clark was going to score like. Well, of course, she's probably going to score at least 8 points on them. But, like, I don't know. To me, doing it before a game is kind of tough. We got Dolores that said, not even hating, this is the weakest, most loser participation trophy I've ever read. Compete, play tough. I get it. Someone says, Michigan women's basketball deserves a whacking. They are getting because, yeah, it's weird. It's odd. We got the Asia emoji. Maya says, bring back a real hater, because me personally, I'm not doing that. Did they hold hands and sing Kumbaya after the game? I get it. And there were lots of other comments, about this that's just sort of like, what are y'all doing? What? You know, y'all supposed to be some competitors, and I get it. And I also, if this was done after the game, I also understand how they could be in a space of like, yeah, we got whooped. They didn't actually get whooped. They lost. But they had someone to score 49 points against them. So I get that, and I get how they could probably experience that and then be like, yeah, that's terrible. We got killed, but let's calm and compose ourselves from being really upset about this game, and let's do a good gesture for Caitlin, and let's write her a note. There's a small part of me that kind of understands that. If it was after the game, and after they compose themselves and whatnot, but Holly Rowe posted that basically kind of right after the game, so it lets me know that they actually did that before it was over. And that makes me kind of be like, well, why did you do that? You know, what? I think initially someone told me that they wrote a note to her, And I was like, initially I was like, oh, great. I think I said that on the live stream. I was like, oh, great. That's very nice of them. But as I thought more about it, I'm like, well, I could never, ever, ever see myself doing that. Like I just couldn't see myself doing that. And this is absolutely no shade to Michigan. I just don't see how I could get myself in the headspace to lose and then write a note to the people that beat me. Like I think that's hard to do. I think that's very, very difficult to do. So I guess shout out to them for doing it, but I think that puts you in a bad mentality. They had to have came into that game knowing that they had a note going to Caitlin Clark. And to me, that's, you don't do that. You don't, coming into a game knowing that you writing her a note, basically saying how great she is and all that stuff before you play her. Like, to me, that's a little bit wild, personally. But I get it. Like, I kind of get it, but I also think it's wild because I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it. I'd be so pissed off about the game that I don't think I could do it. Michaela says it's kind of like they gave her a thank you for torching our team, and they were honored. Yeah, it's kind of odd. It's kind of odd. Bam Bam says that's fan behavior, especially right after a game. So I have no problems, absolutely none, with maybe taking a little bit of time and then writing her something, because game recognized game. And regardless of who you are in women's basketball, what team you play for, I'm sure they all were like, man, what Caitlin did was amazing. Angel Reese posted about it. Like you game recognized game. Don Staley talked about it at the presser for yesterday's game, asking if Caitlin hit the record and whatnot. Like, so I get wanting to acknowledge what Caitlin Clark did, but after she torched you, and in their instance, I believe they made the note before the game even happened. I just for her direct competitor, I think that's a little bit much for the direct competitor. Maybe if they won, if Michigan won, I could absolutely see, yes. If I was on Michigan and I won the game, I would write Caitlin a note saying, "Hey, congratulations for hitting your record." After you won and you got the satisfaction of winning the game. But yeah, sure, congratulate her after that. But after you lost, I don't know. I think that's a little bit much. In my opinion, but I understand why they did it. Like, I feel like I understand it, but I also am like, maybe give it a little bit of time after you lost. But anyway, I did just want to kind of talk about that because I thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, so there's some talk about people who were watching the South Carolina versus Tennessee game, how they missed a couple of plays due to ESPN showing Iowa, which understandable. I get it. They could have did a split screen. They probably should have did a split screen to make that work. Peace Love Jen says, I think probably in their heads it was more about the moment in NCAA basketball history rather than the loss itself, but I'm surprised they were able to do that after a loss. Yeah. I would have been mad. Kels said they wrote the notes before the game. Yeah. That makes it even worse. that makes it even worse. Because you just knew she was going to hit that record. against you, and probably go off and win the game. I think that's just, again, this is 0.00000 shade on this is zero shade on Michigan, like this, but I think that's a tough thing to do. They bigger women than me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. Especially not before a game. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. Kayla says, let's talk conference tourney predictions. If I'm going to do that, I want to actually do a thorough job of all conferences, not just sort of like the more well-known conferences. So I want more time to I want to actually like build that out and like actually put logos and like actually like rank them and do like a real thing. Let me know in the chat what y'all think of like making like a live, doing like a live stream of a preview show of what my predictions are, where it's like, how ESPN was sort of like revealing the top 16 and sort of how they did it in stages and like how it was like all produced and they like flashed all up at one time. Like, I think that'd be cool if I did something like that for my tournament predictions. I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments, because I think that'd be fun. I think that would be really, really, really fun. What up, Officer Davis? Officer Davis says, hey, awesome people of the internet. I'm so glad she finally got the record so we can focus on the game themselves. Yeah. I mean, she got it, but there's another record. There's another record. She's gonna break Pistol Pete's record pretty soon. So there's more stuff to talk about when it comes to Caitlin Clark and records to be broken. Okay, guys. So I want to move the conversation. I want to move the conversation to talking about the WNBA real quick. All right. I do want to move the conversation. I know there's still lots of chat about women's basketball, and I love it. Let's keep the college basketball chatter going in the comments. But I do just want to give some quick updates for y'all. Also, there's some talking in the chat about Paige Beckers not going into the WNBA draft. And yeah, so it is official. She is returning. Paige Beckers is returning to UConn for another season. So actually, let's before I get into the WNBA, let's properly do this this story for Paige Beckers. All right, let's properly do this. So I want to share a video with you all. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna pull up a video, and we are going to get into what Caitlin Clark had to say. Okay, so let's get into what she had to say.
This program has meant to me what you guys have meant to me. The best student section in the country.
Wait, I think this isn't loud enough. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Let's get this technical difficulties out the way, because I want to make sure you all can actually hear it.
Words what this program has meant to me, what you guys have meant to me. The best student section in the country. Thank you guys. Obviously, this 4 years didn't go how I planned or how I wanted it to go, but I've been traded for the world. I wouldn't be able to get through what I went through without everybody here just supporting. So thank you to the best fans in the country. I know everybody wants me to address the elephant in the room. Unfortunately, this will not be my last senior night here at UConn.
And the crowd goes wild.
Thank you guys. We love you. We still need your support the rest of the season. And we'll see you soon.
So y'all heard it here. We have Paige Beckers returning to UConn. Hopefully y'all were able to actually hear that that sound. Paige Beckers is returning to UConn for one more season. And this is very, very exciting news for UConn fans because this season was not the season that they expected. With 5 players out for the season on injury, Paige is returning for another year. So we're gonna see what she can make happen. And maybe next year is a year for UConn to have a very healthy season and to be very, very successful. But one thing's for sure is that we all know that this team that UConn had this year, there were plans for this team to do very, very well, but it just didn't turn out that way. It just did not turn out the way, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Sorry guys, I lost my comments. It's weird. But anyway, I did just want to talk about what Paige Beckers had to say today. So this was their senior night for UConn, and Paige, she's like, okay, all of this talk about is she going to go to the WNBA? Is she not going to go to the WNBA? She's like, hey, I'm gonna let y'all know right now. She said, I know everybody wants me to address the elephant in the room. Unfortunately, this will not be my last senior night here at UConn. I am coming back. And the crowd went wild after that. So we know that Paige Beckers has had she was on top of the world in her freshman year for UConn, and then she got hurt. She missed last season due to a torn ACL. And this year, she's doing everything she can for UConn, but she's playing out of position. Yes, she's leading the team in scoring and field goal percentage and whatnot, but this isn't the team they were expecting, right? Janet L. Alfie is out. You have AZ Fudd out, other players out, and it's going to be good to really see what this UConn team has to offer as a fully healthy team. So I do want to hear what y'all have to say about Paige Bueckers deciding to return back to the team, because yeah, it's pretty it's good news for fans. So just to run down the list of players who are injured right now for UConn is Carolyn Ducharme with a head and neck issue. We don't really know if she will ever return back to women's basketball. We have Aubrey Griffin, who tore her ACL. We have Ayanna Patterson, who there was hope for her to be able to play this season, but it turns out no, she won't be able to do it. Yeah, so she is out because she had to undergo season-ending knee surgery. We have AZ Fudd, who will be back next year. She tore her ACL. We have Janet L. Alfie, who tore her Achilles when she was playing in Egypt. She was playing for Egypt in the FIBA U19 World Cup. So lots and lots of injuries. Amari DeBerry, same thing. Like, so there's basically what I'm trying to say is UConn did not have the roster that they were intending to have this season. And with AZ Fudd coming back next year, with Paige Bueckers coming back next year, we're gonna have an opportunity. And with some recruits coming to UConn, we're gonna have an opportunity to see what they can do next year, because this era of UConn women's basketball, it was pegged to be very dominant, right? There was a lot of hype around AZ Fudd and Paige Bueckers, and and that it never happened, and Aaliyah Edwards, but the hype was more than the result that we got, because the result that we got were injuries. And so next year, it will be Paige Bueckers' last year for women's college basketball, and we will see what she can do. We will really see what she can do for the game. Nicholas says UConn next year could be incredibly scary. Yeah, they could be. They could be. Michelle says, good for Paige Bueckers coming back, but for the past 3 consecutive years, they have dealt with injuries, not a full team. Hopefully year 4 will break the curse. Yeah, they haven't lived up to what we expected because of the injuries. Yeah. It's tough when you think that you're going to have a good run, and then one person goes down, another person goes down, and it's just like, man, we just running down the court with Aaliyah Edwards, Paige Bueckers, and a bunch of freshmen. that's what we doing, and Nika Mule. Like, that's what we doing. So yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you for the fact check. Appreciate you, Jan Michael. Yes. I forgot that she did redshirt. Yeah, she did redshirt. So yeah, she does have two more years. Thank you so much for that that fact check. Bree Wayne says Angel Reese is probably going to come back for a 5th season. We'll see. I have not seen a announcement from her, but she can come back if she wants to. She can come back. So yeah, this does put a huge wrench in the WNBA draft. With Caitlin seeming like she probably will return to Iowa another year, to Paige Becker saying that she's going to come back, to Angel. Angel hasn't said either way, but I feel like Angel's probably going to come back to LSU next year. It makes it makes the draft it affects the draft a lot. So I think I will need to do a little bit of thinking in terms of like, okay, well, if these players don't enter the WNBA draft, who do I think will take their place? I think I'll have to do a little bit of thinking around that. But yeah, that's sort of the latest news about Paige Beckers. She is returning to UConn next year. All is well in Husky Land. They have their star back for one more season at least. All right, guys. As I mentioned, I did want to just like briefly give a WNBA update for y'all. All right. So for those who do not know, just a quick NBA All-Star update for you. All right, just a quick NBA All-Star update for you. So today is the celebrity game for NBA All-Star Weekend. If you don't know, the All-Star is happening right now. It's happening in Indianapolis, I believe. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because tomorrow, Sabrina Ionescu will be competing against Steph Curry for the first ever NBA versus WNBA 3-point challenge. Now, this is happening tomorrow night, which is Saturday night. The game is going to happen on TNT. And yeah, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens because we got 3-point extraordinaire in Steph Curry going up against the girl who can, when she gets hot, in Sabrina Ionescu. So I will probably watch this tomorrow. So All-Star Saturday night begins at 7 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. If you plan on watching it, I don't know exactly what time this particular challenge will happen at, but the night starts at 7 p.m. And so yeah, this it'll take place after the 3-point contest. So if you're watching the NBA All-Star Weekend tomorrow, look for after the 3-point contest, and then we'll see Sabrina versus Steph Curry. I am rooting for Sabrina because I think this is pretty much no negatives on the NBA side, but it's negatives for the WNBA side if Sabrina Ionescu does not just like absolute torch it and just get 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. So I will say I hope she does very well. I am rooting for her because I think that the WNBA could lose. Like I think people could use this as a detractor for the WNBA if she doesn't go off and do very well, right? So that's my only thing. I hope she does very well. All right, so I do want to do a before we go into transactions for the WNBA, I do want to just do a quick look at Colorado versus Utah. So the game is over. Utah narrowly beat Colorado 77-76. Now, I will watch this game after because, of course, I was talking to y'all while this game was happening. So I don't have analysis on the game because I haven't watched it yet. But Colorado was down big early, and they fought back. They fought back, and they were able to almost win the game. In terms of players, looks like Peely did her thing, 18 points, 2 of 5 from the 3-point line. Johnson had 14 points. Vieira had 16 for Utah and 7 assists. That's pretty good. For Colorado, Jalen Shirai had 15. All right. So the big three did their thing for Colorado. Jalen Shirai, Aaronette Vonleh, and Frida Foreman. 15, 14, 15, respectively. All right. Goodness rated, I completely agree. That Utah team is hot and cold. Yeah. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting from them. Audrey says, even if Sabrina wins, the NBA fans will say it's rigged. Yeah. Possibly. Yeah. All right. So let's just quickly get into some WNBA news, and then we're going to call it quits for tonight because I need to walk my dogs. y'all see this joke over here sleeping? He gonna have to take a walk pretty soon. All right. So let's look at some transactions for the WNBA. And let me pull this up. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. And I'm going to get this pulled up real quick. And then we are going to end the night. All right. So, let's talk about what's going on in the WNBA world. So, the biggest news, of course, is the fact that JJ has finally re-signed with the New York Liberty. This is something that I was expecting to happen, but I was kind of surprised that it took so long. We all know that Jonquel Jones wanted to come back to the New York Liberty. We know that they wanted her to come back, but it took a little bit longer than I expected for them to get this thing signed, sealed, and delivered. But it's all said and done. Jonquel Jones is returning to New York. Now, for those New York fans that are watching, let me know in the comments what you think about the fact that JJ has re-signed with this team. Yes, even with this signing, one thing about New York that's different than other teams is I feel like other teams got better, and New York is just trying to keep what they had last year, which isn't an improvement, especially because other teams got better. So we have Shea Petty, who was formerly with the Phoenix Mercury. She has signed a training camp contract with the Connecticut Sun. We have Ruthie Hebert, who signed a training camp contract with the Minnesota Lynx. Now, here's the thing. Is Minnesota becoming Chicago Sky 2.0? Because they got Alana Smith, they got Courtney Williams, now they have Ruthie Hebert. Like all the Sky players are going to Minnesota. Seems like. Who else is going to Minnesota? Okay. We also have the Chicago Sky, who renounced their rights to Ksenia I'm going to pronounce that last name wrong, so I'm not even going to say it. We have Morgan Green, who signed a training camp contract with the New York Liberty. Jamie Nard signed a training camp contract with the Minnesota Lynx. Amy Atwell signed a training camp contract with Phoenix Mercury. Emma Cannon, previously with the Indiana Fever, is now with the Dallas Wings, signed a training camp contract. And I believe the rest of these we already talked about. We already talked about the rest of these. Morgan Birch with the Phoenix Mercury, Natasha Mack with Phoenix Mercury as well. So yeah. That is the new information, but really the biggest thing, really the biggest thing is Jonquil Jones re-signing with the Chicago, not with Chicago Sky, re-signing with the New York Liberty. In my dreams, she signed with the Chicago Sky. In my dreams, not in reality, unfortunately. Maybe in the future. Who knows? All right, guys. Audrey says the Lynx and Sky are doing horrible off-season moves. I mean, I think they're getting who they can get. I think that's the reality. When it comes down to it, people aren't interested in going to Chicago Sky because they don't have the same things that other teams have to offer. Yeah, sure, they have a great coach in Teresa Weatherspoon, but that's all they got. That's all they got. And yeah, so they're going other places. So I think the Sky are doing the moves that they can make. Like they swung and missed on the big names. Minnesota, I don't even know if they swung on the big names. I don't know. I hadn't really heard about them really being in the mix for any of the big name players. So I think they're also just trying to rebuild and see what they can get and try to build through the draft, which is now going to be the thing that the Mystics have to do. So for those, the Mystics are doing bad as well. Yep. So for those who don't know, Elena Delle Donne, when, what am I trying to say? So an update for Elena Delle Donne, she has decided to step away from the WNBA. She has decided to step away from the WNBA. We don't know how long she'll be away from the WNBA, but she has decided to step away. That has been announced. And the reason why it was announced, I have some thoughts about it. Elena Delle Donne was cored by the Washington Mystics. And just because a team cores you does not mean you're forced to play for them. It just means that if you want to continue to play in the league, you have to sign it and play for that team. Or try to negotiate a sign and trade type of deal, which was on the table, but it fell through because I guess Washington was like, no, we want you to play for us. And Elena Delle Donne said, okay, you guys cored me. I have no other option. I'm going to peace out from the WNBA for right now. I can take it or leave it. I can take it or leave the WNBA. And right now, I'm going to leave it because I don't want to play for you. I do not want to play for you, the Washington Mystics. And that's, it sort of is what it is. It just shows that something has broken down for Minnesota. I mean, not Minnesota, the Mystics, Washington Mystics. Something has really, really broken down. The fact that your two best players, Natasha Cloud left for the Phoenix Mercury, Elena Delle Donne, instead of signing the core agreement that you guys gave her, instead of signing that, she's just opting to just completely step away from the WNBA. That's a big deal. Elena Delle Donne has won the MVP twice in the WNBA. She has not given a specific timeline for when she will come back to the WNBA. It's unspecified. She had a 1-year Supermax contract on the table. It was a core designation. And she doesn't want to sign it. She did not want to sign it because she clearly does not want to work. She doesn't want to play for the Washington Mystics anymore. She could be on a different team, but in order for that to happen, since she was cored by the Washington Mystics, they would have to do some sort of sign and trade agreement. But yeah, she has decided. She decided not to do it. It could be because they were going to send her to a team that maybe she didn't want to be on. It also could be that they were like, no, we're not doing a sign and trade with you. We've already lost Natasha Cloud. We're not going to lose you too, you know. So that could be an issue. Yes, she has been dealing with health stuff. So her taking this year off, health wise, is going to be good for her. It's going to be very good for her. But from like the stuff that I heard, it sounded like that the Phoenix Mercury were sort of in the mix, possibly to get it was a couple teams that was sort of in the mix for Delle Donne, but nothing panned out, and she's gonna take the season off, which health wise is gonna be very good for her, but in terms of other stuff, you know, not good for the Washington Mystics, you know, and as a big Delle Donne fan, it's a bummer that we won't see her in the league, but I'm sure she'll still be balling, getting ready, and then next season, you know, maybe she'll come back to the WNBA. But yeah, that is the news, guys. We will see what happens from here, but that is the news as of right now. Delle Donne is taking a year off of women's basketball. All right, so that's it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. We are about to end the stream, but as we head on out, if y'all could do me a favor, hit that like button. That'd be fantastic. It'll help more people watch the restream after. Also, please do me a favor. If you have not liked this channel, please hit that like button. We are on a mission to get to 10,000 10,000 subscribers before the season is over. I think that it's possible that we can get there before the women's college basketball season is over. So I ask that if you have not subscribed, you please subscribe. YouTube gives me analytics, and it says that the majority of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed, but it also says that those people are returning to watch other videos. And so if you're one of those people who have watched several videos, even several live streams, and you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and help me get to 10,000 subscribers before March Madness begins, because really this channel is a mission to show that people care about women's basketball. And it's so important that communities are spreading everywhere, including on YouTube. I think as we sort of build this, I think it continues to tell the narrative about why the WNBA, why NCAA women's basketball, why women's basketball period is very important. And there's an audience, there's a baked in audience of people who love it and want to engage with it. Because I think if we don't build it, they won't make it, right? There's nothing like this on TV. There's nothing that actually there's no show that actually talks about women's basketball as a whole. It doesn't exist. There's nobody who's talking about the women's college basketball game, also talking about the WNBA, also talking about what's happening overseas. It doesn't exist. And I really want it to exist. So I'm like, hey, let's build this channel, and let's get people invested, because people actually do care. And maybe as this continues on, maybe we can convince the people at the different networks to not just have random specials here and there to talk about women's basketball, but no, making it a real thing, making it a real show. It doesn't have to be me. Like, I'm cool being on YouTube. Like, I'm cool. But I think in general, we need more of a space for women's basketball to sort of talk about everything, not just this sort of narrow thing, and not just focus on some of the top teams. Let's focus on all the teams. So yeah, that's why I do this. Yeah, I would totally appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. All right, guys, I have rambled, and I am sorry about that. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. We have some great basketball coming up this weekend. College game day is happening on Sunday, so that is something that you all can look out for. There's some talk about retirement in the chat. People talking about Diana Taurasi retiring, Candace Parker retiring. So yeah, we can get into that in a different stream. I really gotta walk these dogs. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a fantastic day for the rest of your night tonight. Have a great day tomorrow and on Sunday. And y'all, I will talk to y'all sometime later this weekend. Maybe going live on Sunday. And then of course we always have our Monday show. Got some great stuff planned for that show. So stay tuned for it. You guys rock. I see a comment in here. Audrey says, Quita, are you starting a March Madness group? What do you mean? What do you mean by March Madness group? I don't think I understand your question. Once you answer, Audrey, we can leave for the night. I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean a March Madness group? Or maybe Audrey, you could just say it in the regular comments. Once the video ends. Oh, bracket contest. Yes. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. Yes. I will figure out a way to I'll figure out a way to make that happen. Yes. Sorry, you saying group confused me. Yes, we would do that. Awesome people of the internet, have a fantastic night. I will see you all next time. I'll see y'all shortly. Whenever that is, have a great night. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.